Did they make contact?
No, it's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Look at this.
Moves out to win it. Carl Edwards bumping, dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again. The bump and run.
There it is.
Maine really turn around, made a Reilly's cage up.
Oh, yeah, welcome to the Bumper Run Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Z.Y., joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Kyle Busch type weekend, but I hope you earned your winning weekend instead of backing into one like old KB did. And if you're liking this podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Available every Monday night, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and more. And I know what you're singing. Michael D. White, it's Tuesday night. What are you doing? Well, we had to wait because Daytona Ron was live in Bristol over the weekend. We'll jump right into that. But if you're liking us, you're watching on YouTube every Tuesday morning. This one will be up on Wednesday morning. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, and comment along. We throw out questions all the time. Comment what you're thinking during the podcast. But I want to know, Daytona Ron, what were you thinking of the Bristol dirt race down there? Just tell me about the general vibe and atmosphere of your weekend. Not so much into the race grade or anything like that, but like, how was it down there? How was the Great Coliseum?
How was your experience?
How was your experience?
I'll tell you what, it was phenomenal. From the minute I got there to the minute I was pulling out, it was just nonstop entertainment. The campground was great. Neighbors always are great. That's what NASCAR, does and why it's special, because the fans that attend these races and, a lot of dirt fans, it seemed like, with NASCAR fans they go to their local dirt track. So, of course, there was a lot of those fans there. And, the weather held out. I thought the weather was great. Wasn't like overly hot, it was overcast for most of Saturday, which I thought was a good thing. You don't want to be a sweaty mess walking around, checking out everything that's going around Bristol. Yeah. Which when you're there at Bristol, they have so much to do on the outside of the racetrack that you need to, give yourself a little bit of leeway going down there for the race to make sure you check out all the sponsor tents and stuff they have going there. They have a whole Ferris wheel running, and it was just it was good to see the crowd. It was at the fan center. It was buzzing. That Coliseum was definitely buzzing all weekend, and so was I.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you get to see the Easter Bunny? Did he drop off a basket to your camper?
He didn't come over to my camper, but I did see him when I was in the Coliseum. He was walking up and down like a mascot does at a hockey game or whatnot, like Tuck's our mascot up here for the Penguins. But I did not run into the bunny, no. But I did run into a lot of happy race fans. The people there, the enthusiasm was through the roof. People, even with a little bit of rain at the end, we all just kind of shifted up to the top, and we found some, section that was underneath, the roof there. And it was just overall, I didn't want to leave. It was actually sad when I was leaving Bristol. So I'm disappointed you guys didn't get to see it live, because it's hard to explain, the feeling when you're there. And it's one of those things where I'm hoping it comes back, if that's a topic of conversation, which I haven't been on my phone in a while. It was pretty much dead since the day I left. So I'm assuming Twitter is probably talking about it, if it's going to come back again. And from what I saw, from what I felt, from what I heard, to me, it's a no-brainer to bring it back.
I believe it is unofficially coming back. I saw something on the NASCAR app. I didn't get time to check it out, but it's all but set in stone that it's coming back. You saw the ratings. I think it was 4 million for Fox on Easter Sunday. I think not only is it coming back, but it's going to come back and it's going to be Easter Sunday. Now, an interesting tidbit too is next year's Easter Sunday
It's the Masters
it's
weekend.
also the Masters. Yeah, so that could be a hell of a Sunday where you have the Masters going all day. If you like, I love I'm not a big golf guy, but I love the Masters.
Yeah.
So watching the Masters all day, leading right into the Daytona, right into the Bristol dirt race, could be a hell of a holiday.
I just wish it wasn't on Easter, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I know I talked to Eric on Saturday on the phone. Dana's screaming. She's like, drive down. We got a camping spot right next to us. I was like, man, if it wasn't Easter Sunday tomorrow, I probably would have. It's only what, an 8-hour drive from Pennsylvania, Eric, from where we are?
Yeah, especially it was about 10 for me both ways, just because I was pulling my trailer behind me.
Yeah.
And, I just got to take it a little bit easier. It's a small little trailer. So, when you got those big rigs flying by,
the wind's blowing it like crazy.
You got to hold her steady, So I took my time getting down there. I was in no rush. So, but yeah, you would have made it down in probably about 8.
Yeah, I wish I could have came down to see that. I just want to see Bristol in general. Now, you were at Bristol for the night race before with Matt, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So
2016. That was actually the last highest rated Bristol race before going to dirt as far as like the TV viewers go, and that went. So speaking on Easter Sunday, that kind of might have had a little bit to do with the good TV numbers we got out of it. A lot of people at home with family watching, so that was a good thing about it.
So how was the atmosphere different from it being those two different races? Did you see much of a difference, or is it just a great experience in general? No matter what.
It's honest to God, cliche, but it's Bristol, baby. You know what I mean? No matter what you put down, it's Bristol, baby. So the atmosphere was just everyone. It's just the anticipation of getting the race going. Everyone just wants the excitement and the race to start because they know what they're going to end up seeing. And these two ladies that ended up camping right behind us, Stormy and Deb, shout out if they listen. I told them about this, but
Stormy and
Deb was 75. They're from Michigan. They used to call her, short track because she was a racer, and she's been a season ticket holder at Bristol since 1997, and she's been going to every race. So I asked her, like, hey, what is your opinion on them throwing dirt down? There was not a better person to ask that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a question. Do we keep, Bristol a dirt track, or everyone's like, no, let's have it somewhere else. She loved it.
Yeah.
She loves the regular Bristol, but then again, she liked the change, and she liked that NASCAR is trying to go and do things a little bit different. So even amongst fans that have been around and have seen the different styles and formats of races and NASCAR trying to grow the sport, I just think they're doing it exceptionally well right now, and they are growing the sport. And I think the dirt communities, like I said before, are kind of coming together and kind of coming over to the NASCAR side. And I think we are slowly, as NASCAR fans, getting into the dirt side. So I think it was a good opportunity to kind of blend those fan bases together. And I saw a lot of that this weekend at the racetrack.
Plus, like that lady said too, it makes it different. It kind of gives two identities to the track, and I think that's good.
It's like Charlotte running the 600 and then the Roval. Right. It's like it may as well be two completely different tracks.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad you had a great time though. And some of the videos I posted them to our Twitter page. Your view of the last lap there, and
it couldn't be better.
It just looked absolutely amazing.
Jaw dropping.
Like
it was right in front of me. So I mean, like of all places, when I was buying my tickets, I'm like, where do I want to sit? And I kind of had an idea from being there before, and I'm like, man, the dirt though. Coming out of turn 4 right there, I go, this is where something's definitely going down right here. And lo and behold, a big moment went down.
We're gonna be in Dover in 2 weeks, and we're sitting in turn 4. So I'm hoping Eric takes that Bristol juju with him down to Dover with us.
Let's bring it. I got it all bottled up, baby. Let's go.
See another classic finish. Let's go.
I sure hope so. I hope Tyler Reddick's leading, and it's a different outcome this time. What was it? I was gonna say something. Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
I cut you off there.
That's okay. Oh no, I remember. So you know how like there's always those classic moments when you go to certain tracks during the video package, like Martinsville, we will always see the Joey Logano, Matt Kenseth incident in the video hype up package, you know? Like that turn 4 incident is going to be in every Bristol dirt highlight, every Bristol highlight going forward for the next who knows how many years.
50 years. They still show the fight in Daytona, and what was that, 79?
1979. So, hey,
yeah,
that's the reason why the sport took off in the 70s and 80s there, right there. But same thing with Dale Earnhardt and Terry Labonte at Bristol. You know, like I saw in one of the videos or like one of the pictures he had, like they still have the picture of that car, like as he's, you know, give him the business. It's in our intro where he goes, I was just trying to rattle his cage. You know, like they still use that in the Coliseum itself as a hype up.
They have all their sections are old legends of racing. So each section all the way around the Coliseum, they'll have a banner with an old photo of whoever the driver is and his name. And that's how they sell the tickets in sections. The Darrell Waltrip, you know, the Bobby Labonte section, Alan Kawicki section. So the Coliseum is a wonder in itself. When you do, Whitey, you look at some of the legends that have been there and the kind of the homage to them by putting them up in the rafters.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy you had a great weekend down there. I'm super jealous, but it sounded like a blast. The videos
it was definitely top 2 experiences going to a racetrack since I've started watching. You know, I could go back to the Kenseth win at Pocono. Obviously, that'll be forever, you know, special to me. But like as far as last lap excitement, like Larson last year blowing that tire and like the shock, I'm like, that was live. The craziest thing until, you know, this past weekend at Bristol, seeing that right there. And I think, Whitey, you being a Reddick fan had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we were cheering him on like you wouldn't believe. And it was just, it was wild to see. And man, if you're listening out there and you have an opportunity next year, if it goes down, let's get those grandstands filled up because you do not know what you're missing.
Oh yeah. And you want to what? I feel like you're a pretty good luck charm for RCR. You saw Austin Dillon win the Daytona 500. I was thinking you were going to see Tyler Reddick get his first win. I was a little jealous at the time. I'm like, man, this is going to be awesome for Eric, you know? But how about the rain delays though? Was it like a bummer hanging out for the rain delays? You guys make the best of it during, like, what were you doing then? Just drinking?
Man, the rain delays, we were just pounding them back. And, you know, it was at that point in time, I got a pretty decent buzz on going. And, you know, appreciation here for the people that were prepping that track because they deserve credit as well for the racing that went on because they had to, you know, keep that track up to the weather that was coming through. And when it was raining, those Packer cars, there was, I think, 4 of them, a blue Chevy truck, and then you had the water truck going around. And I ended up commentating, like, you know, out loud, like, oh my God, we got a race, we got a battle in turn 4, he's coming around. And one was like a Terry's like diner car, another was a Tide car, and the Chevy truck had an Easter bunny in the window. And I'm going, oh, we got the 61 Chevy Easter bunny truck. And I was commentating like them going around the racetrack because they were flying, those Packer cars. I don't know if they were showing any of them on TV.
No, they showed them on TV. It was pretty cool.
The one dude in the Terry's car, I don't know, it said Terry's was a red car. He was sideways going down the front stretch the entire time. And I'm going, oh my God, he's catching him. I go, he's got him by 2 car lengths. I go, oh no, he's coming in the turn. He's got him by 10. He's going up high. Oh, slide job. And all the people around me were losing their mind. They were dying laughing. So we had ourselves a good time during the rain delay. We made good of it, and it didn't honestly rain that much. Like, I don't know what it looked like on TV. It was so light. Like, as a fan, it's weird. Like, you didn't get really that wet from it. I mean, I didn't get wet at all. We were underneath the roof up top, but it just didn't seem to make anything real muddy or wet in the grandstands.
Yeah.
It just seemed like more of a miss to me, but always fun during a rain delay. I always have a blast, and you always have to make the best of it. And that's, all the fans around me, like we all embraced it, and we were having a great time.
I feel
Eric and I brought the North and South together during a rain delay in Daytona one year.
I was gonna say, I feel like during the rain delays, that's when you make the friends around you, because when you're sitting there, you might chit chat with the people in front or behind you. But like when you're all ducking for cover underneath the grandstands, you start bullshitting with people because like you're just standing there awkwardly.
Nothing else to do.
Yeah, you meet people from like all over the place, and usually they're pretty friendly. Everyone I've ever experienced at NASCAR race is always super friendly and just happy to be there.
Well, the two problems with rain delays is one, we're not watching racing, and two, you run out of beer a lot quicker than you'd hoped.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we've done that in Daytona a lot. Then you just go across the street to the Sunoco and you drink there until the green flag flies. But I'm super pumped you had a great time. I'm glad you survived. I was getting a little nervous. We didn't hear from you at all yesterday and midway through today. So
I was struggling. I mean, that 10-hour, it was maybe even a little bit more drive home, and it was weird. It went from I was in shorts and a cutoff to driving home, and man, probably right around Maryland, I hit some pretty nasty weather. I drove into just pouring rain, wind, and then it turned to sleet and snow coming home. So it was a little sketchy the last probably 2 hours of my drive home. So mentally and everything, like you don't realize driving it, especially with a trailer behind you too. I was exhausted.
Well, I'm glad you had a great time. And speaking of snow, like I couldn't believe it. It's April 19th, and it snowed in Pennsylvania here. We woke up to snow this morning. Matt, did you wake up to snow?
Oh yeah,
unreal, right?
Yo, did you guys hear snow thunder last night?
No, but I've seen a thunder snow before. It's pretty crazy.
Or thunder snow? What did I call it?
Snow thunder.
So I didn't think that was real. And so we have an Alexa right next to our bed, which I just set it too loud, so now it's going off. And we play thunderstorm music on it, or not music, but like thunderstorm,
like the sounds for sleep.
Yeah, because I can't sleep in like complete silence, so it's like a nice calming thunderstorm noise. And so I woke up and like I thought that's what I was hearing. And then like it like really thundered, and I was like, oh my god, like what the hell? I look out and it's snowing, and it was thundering. It was like the weirdest phenomenon I've ever like happened. It was unbelievable, but it was cool because I've heard about it before. I just never thought I'd ever see it or hear it rather.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering. So I went back to sleep. I woke up the next morning. I asked Steph if she had heard it. She wasn't. She slept through it. So I was like, well, did I dream that? So I hopped onto Facebook to see if anybody else was talking about it. And I found a few people that mentioned it. So I'm like, okay.
So you weren't going crazy.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, YouTube Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel and Thunder Snow. He freaks out about it. He loves it. But
that video is why I was so excited that I got to finally experience it.
Yeah. You guys want to jump into the NASCAR news though? You got a couple stories.
Let's hear it.
All right, let's see. Clint Bowyer, since we're going to Talladega, baby, this weekend, Clint Bowyer is going to be driving Davey Allison's Havoline 28 on the pace laps at Talladega. Of course, he tragically passed at Talladega in a helicopter accident. I believe 19 years ago this July. It'll be 29 years ago this July. It'll be 30 years next year, which is absolutely insane. And then let's see, next piece of news, big piece of news. Grassroots Racing is returning to North Wilkesboro Speedway this August, and then they're going to tear it up and do some dirt racing in October before a repave in 2023. And Matt, you said you had some breaking news about this one too.
So I do. So by the time everyone hears this, we are recording it at 7:45 on Tuesday night, April 19th. The Dale Jr. download, while I was waiting to log in to start the show here, they had released a little clip of their show that I guess is coming out probably tomorrow morning. And he had mentioned, Dale Jr. that is, had mentioned that he's so thrilled about about North Wilkesboro coming back, that he is going to be tailgating there
Ooh.
to try to bring fans in, because he wants, like, let's time, like we always say, put your money where your mouth is. We're getting this back going, so we've been bitching about it for decades now. Let's go. Time to put your money where your mouth is. So Dale's going to be there tailgating, but the even bigger breaking news is that he said that he's thinking about running late dirt models there.
Nice.
To bring the crowds in.
So
I just thought that, like, if he can get that done, that would be awesome.
I mean, if anyone can get people to show up to a track just by being there, it's Dale Jr. So I think that'll be pretty interesting. And that's a great piece of breaking news right there. You heard it here, maybe second on the Bumper Run podcast. Let's see. Speaking of Dale Earnhardt Jr., his nephew, Jeffery Earnhardt, is going to be driving the number 3 in the Xfinity Series this weekend in Talladega, running for RCR. And Larry McReynolds jumping on top of the war wagon, going to be crew chiefing for the first time in about 20-some years. So I'm excited to see Larry Mack back on the war wagon. He said on his radio show a while ago, he never retired officially. And he would come and crew chief for someone if he needed him, only if it was an Earnhardt or if it was Tyler Reddick. So I don't know. We'll see if Larry Mack could get it done in Talladega.
Eric, you've been looking for someone to root for the Xfinity Series. I think for a one-off race, you got to be rooting for Jeffery Earnhardt and Larry Mack.
I'll always have to root for Larry Mack.
Yeah.
You have to.
I'm
thrilled to hear that news, and I'm sure they're going to cut to him and have some little bits for him up on that war wagon. Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? I wish Dale Jr. was doing the broadcast for the Xfinity race too. Could you imagine doing junior nuggets for Larry Mack on the war wagon? Just roll reversals there. Speaking of spoiled it, last piece of news, Dale Jr. is going to be in the Fox booth at Talladega this weekend. He's going to be doing qualifying to knock the rust off, and then he's going to be doing the race on Sunday. So very exciting to see a little bit of crossover action there.
Super, super cool of NBC to let Dale do that. Apparently the producers of Fox and NBC, I guess, were working the USFL race the USFL football league game this past weekend.
Yeah.
And or something like that. It had something to do with the USFL. I was reading an article.
Yeah, they dual broadcast it. They put it on Fox and NBC.
That's what it was. And then like those guys like got to like talking, and I guess Dale had always asked his NBC producers, like, if I ever get the opportunity to go on a Fox broadcast, I would love to see the difference of how everyone handles everything. So just super cool. I just thought on a side note that both entities are letting him do that.
Yeah, definitely going to be exciting. I can't wait. And it should be interesting on the Dale Jr. download to hear the back behind the scenes stuff between Fox and NBC.
Right.
I just hope he could get a word in with Clint Bowyer, but I got no NASCAR history this week. I figured we were going to talk about Bristol a lot tonight, so we didn't need any filler. Not that the NASCAR history is a filler. I just I figured this is going to be a long one probably. So you want to jump right into the race weekend?
Hell yeah.
Your truck winner on Saturday night, Ben Rhodes, defending Truck Series champion. I tell you what, I really like Ben Rhodes. I heard an interview with him after, and he was talking about how much fun they were having. And he seems like a good guy out there just enjoying himself, real easy to root for.
He had the fastest truck all night too. It was undeniable from the grandstands that he was going to be the truck to beat. And, his teammates too, they all had trucks and, dominated up front to start the race and had to come back at the end there. Ty Majeski was another one that was having a really good race in the trucks that, another of these people right next to me were, they were from the same town that Ty was from. And there was a younger kid there that, he looks up, watches him race at Slinger all the time. And they were big Ty Majeski fans. So, knowing that, obviously during the race, you kind of watching him, and he actually had a, hell of a race up there running up front. And, Ben, I think they all kind of got into one another there, but Yeah, Ben had the truck all day, and I agree, Whitey. He's one of those guys that he's very likable, and I think he's got a bright spot in this sport in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way his car was just getting into that corner, he was able to drive it into the corner 2 or 3 truck lengths, deeper than everyone else was, and then the way he was able to point the nose of that thing out of the corner to get out. I mean, it was he had the best truck for sure.
I never realized how young he is too, because I feel like he's been in the truck series for what feels like forever right now, but he's only 25 years old too. He's been in the truck series for like 8 years though. So, but yeah, really easy guy to root for. And then the polar opposite for some people, Cup Series race on Sunday. Old Kyle Busch, you either love him or you hate him. I hated him on Sunday night, that's for sure. But you love to hate him, you know what I mean?
Like he said in his post-race interview, he didn't do anything wrong.
No, he did. He really did. I thought that post-race interview was really funny, especially with a little wink and smile at the end. You got to give it to old KB. He led the last, 10 yards or so. Tyler Reddick led 99 laps. Daniel Suarez led 64 laps. Chase Briscoe, 59 laps. And Kyle Larson, 27 laps. The race time, 3 hours, 34 minutes. We had 14 cautions for 28 laps. 6 lead changes among 5 different drivers, which is kind of crazy. Because
it didn't feel like only 6.
No, and last week we had 5 lead changes among 4 drivers, and it felt the complete opposite of this weekend.
Okay, so that should go and show you how important mid-pack racing is.
Absolutely. Your top 5, of course, Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 5. Yeah, what'd you guys think of the race? You want to jump into the race grades?
Yeah, let's let Eric start. You were there, buddy.
You were there.
You know what? I want to hear from the TV's perspective from you guys. I was there. I want to know what you guys have to say.
All right. I'll. You want to know what? I never go first. I give it an A. All fucking A+. Give it an A+. It was fantastic. Like I said, it was kind of wild. We only had 1 more lead change than last week, but the excitement was tenfold. Even with the weather delays, I was never let down, and I was happy we got the whole race in, even if it didn't end the way I would have liked to have seen it. I was glad we saw the checkered flag fly, and I thought it was action packed from start to finish. From the beginning, it was a little bit nervous with the mud caking on the grills, and then that became a non-factor after that first caution. And I felt like, when it wasn't raining, we were, full bore. And I think the rain kind of helped that to keep guys, really fighting for position all night long. A+, regardless of the finish. Which, it probably made it an A+ for a lot of people that the finish was like that too. So, I gotta be impartial there. How about you, Matt? What are you giving it?
I'll tell you what. I gave it a D. No, I'm just joking. It was an A+ race. It was an A+ race. It was fantastic. The 2 rain delays, or 3 or 4, however many was kind of a bummer, but like at the end of the day, like you said, Whitey, we did get to see that race. You guys are in group chats with me. I think that was like a roller coaster for me, and I was wrong every time. Every time, like they would stop racing, I was like, "Oh, this is it."
Yeah, they're calling.
Here's a caution. This is definitely going to be it. They're definitely going to call it, and I was wrong like 4 or 5 times. And man, I've never been so excited to be wrong in my life, because that ending of a race was, like you said earlier in the show, like it's going to be one that we see in highlight packages for years to come. We had mid-pack racing, we had mid-pack passing, we had excitement, we had hurt feelings, which we'll get into later on, or I'll get into later on. We had everything that you can want in a race. And I mean, I wrote down an A here, but even looking back on it, like, dude, that was an A+ race. It was an A+ race.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a little spoiler. I couldn't think of wreckers at all. So, okay. I mean, how can you not give it an A+? And
Right.
I feel like even the rain delays, like they didn't last that long.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it was like a nice little break. How about you, Eric? Being in the stands, what are you giving it?
Oh, yeah, I agree with both of you guys, and I'm glad it looked just as good on TV as it did from the grandstands. Being at the race, I think it always makes it like 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Being there, seeing the cars under the lights and the beautiful paint schemes, hearing them, and when they finally get fired, flying by you and feeling those race cars, like you could feel them as they go by, and the energy in the whole Coliseum, the whole place is rumbling. You can't hear anything going on besides those cars. So that energy of being there, you absorb all of that. And the racetrack, it had so much character to it. The rubber was getting driven into it, and there was multi lanes. And I said earlier, the track prep, they had a cushion up to the top, so as the runs were going on, you saw the top come in, and certain guys, they were better on the bottom, and the turns 1 and 2 were completely different from 3 and 4 as far as certain drivers being able to run those turns. And from what I saw, the talent of these drivers to muscle around a 3,400 pound stock car on a dirt racetrack was something that I will try to get to if I can. For as many years as they're going to do Bristol dirt, my girlfriend and I already talked about renewing for next year's spring race already. And
Yeah.
to your guys' point too, I asked her, I go, how was your weekend? Because she had never been anywhere besides Pocono. And, she agreed. She was just happy that it got all the way to the checkered. Like they finished. Like she was waiting for that finish. She didn't want to go to a race that ended in rain delay and under caution. That would have been a bummer for her. But she was happy that it did finish. I was happy, and the fans there were thrilled that it went the whole distance. And the rain delays were a little, obviously, you never want to have that, because then that becomes something that everyone talks about. But like you said, I didn't think they were that bad, and they actually helped. They were saying, the announcers that were there, I didn't know if it was on the TV, some of the drivers at a certain point of the race too was even hoping it would rain, because they were calling for more moisture in the racetrack anyway. So the first couple times that it rained, it actually helped the racetrack out a little bit. But overall, A++++++. Especially with that ending. I know, Whitey, that's a little sting on you, and it sucks that that's how the race had to end. But for me,
it's still exciting.
There, it was the icing on the cake for me being there as a fan, knowing I was at a highlight reel race.
Yeah,
I was there. So it didn't go the way that your buddy's race car driver wants to. You're really rooting them on, but it just made it super exciting for me to be there live. And I honest to God think those cars coming out of those turns, especially where I was at turn 4 right there, their bumpers were closer together every lap than they will be at Talladega, where we'll be next week.
Oh yeah. Which is absolutely crazy, because like they're sideways as they're that close.
Right. I thought there was going to be a wreck almost every lap, the way that they're going and bouncing, the how many, on TV, I don't know if you could tell, but coming out of 4 at the bottom, there was I think there was a little turtle there that it ended up getting really bad. So if you got real too low coming out of 4 to go to the checkered, you went over that bump, and it would kick your car, and your ass end would go out. And that's where a lot of people were getting doored a lot.
Oh yeah.
So I love the character in the racetrack at a dirt race, because it's constantly changing too. And we really saw the drivers' talent on display, and that was the most impressive thing, is seeing how fast they were going in person.
And something I just thought of too while you were talking about that was just like the durability of the cars too. I feel like the next gen car, pretty much, we've been saying it all season, but like the improvements with the fiberglass body and everything, where like I couldn't imagine doing it in the old cars again. You'd probably see a million cut tires, a million more cautions and stuff.
For sure.
And now you just have the ability to really lean on people, beat and bang. You said before the show too, what Corey LaJoie was like a madman getting into everybody, right?
He was at the start of that race, that whole first stage, I was screaming, because Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, and LaJoy were all right next to each other.
Yeah.
And they were just constantly boom, boom. I'm like, Eric Jones was giving the business to that 23 car all the way around the racetrack. And I'm like, come on. I'm yelling, Bubba, get out of the way. I'm yelling, get out of the way. Right. So then finally Eric got around him. And next thing you know, here's LaJoy. He's throwing his car in there, smashing and beating and banging. I'm like, what are you doing? And I was screaming at LaJoy. And it was just constant. Like that energy I had the whole race. I was screaming the whole time because, okay, when Eric, obviously I'm watching him being the fan.
Yeah.
When he was kind of, gapped out a little bit and running around, I'd switch to another pack of cars.
Yeah.
Whether they were, drivers on the lead lap, I had no idea. You're just watching good
You're
racing.
watching the battles.
And you're just watching the battles. And man, all over the racetrack, constant battles. And that's where it was for me being there. I watched it all day long, everywhere. And being at the racetrack, you could watch that happen. You don't have to wait for TV to get to your guy or this battle or that battle. And I know we bitch about Fox not getting to it quick enough. Well, man, I'll tell you what, these eyes, I was quick getting to those battles and seeing them going around that racetrack. Another one I was, I actually was texted Matt Blaney in the beginning, was giving the business to Chase. I'm going, oh my gosh. And at one point he actually got Chase sideways. And I'm like, is this going to be a little battle here between the two buddies going around the racetrack? They were beating and banging. There were no friends on that racetrack on Sunday night. I'll tell you that.
No, I remember, I don't know if it was Chase or not, but I do remember seeing Blaney smash into the back of somebody. And then during one of the rain delays, they were talking to each other, just laughing it up. So they were probably having a blast, just, really leaning on each other and beating and banging,
Some people were having a blast.
Some people were having a blast. But I'm glad it was as good in person as it looked on TV. Just A's all around, man. Fantastic. How about the checkers and wreckers? You want to jump into checkers and wreckers?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with Daytona Ron since he was there.
So, my checkers, I kind of hinted on it a little bit here and there, with just how good the racing was. Today's Tuesday, day late doing the podcast. Normally do it on Monday. I travel day. So normally the penalties and everything come out on Tuesday, and there were 0 penalties to come out after this weekend at Bristol, which I'm giving that the checkers because guess what we're talking about? The racing on the racetrack. And it feels good to talk about the excitement on the racetrack instead of some drama that, unfolded that, or a windshield or a tire or something, wrong is the center of the conversation until the next week. And it just feels good to, at least on my side, I can't stop talking about the racing that I witnessed. And it feels good that when we get out of a weekend and have such a great race like we did, to have it kind of drama-free on the back end as far as this new car goes.
Yeah.
The issues didn't seem to creep into that weekend with the new car. So just the no penalties and the focus leading in the media on just the excellent racing that we saw this weekend all around. I just had to give that my checkers. My wreckers, like you stated before, Whitey, it was tough to find a wreckers. But if I had to, find a wrecker, it would probably be, Corey LaJoy. Like I said, he was just super aggressive. I don't know if he was out of his element or not, because he was just a wrecking ball. I said
it's
to,
like a bull in a china
myself,
shop.
He was like Ty Dillon at the Clash. It almost felt it was like that. You know what I mean? Where he was just by any means necessary. He was
just smashing into people.
Yeah. So and that's if I have to search for something as minuscule as that for someone being a little aggressive on a dirt track, man. It was an all around a great racing weekend when it's tough to find a record. So if you know what, now that I think about it, there was no flyover night race. Didn't think about that. No
really?
Ceremony, yeah.
Because
you could tell people were waiting for it too. Even Bubba was looking up. They showed him on the TV. Is there going to be some? Because it was still kind of light out, but it was overcast. I'm like, they might do one, they might not do one. And you could see the crowd was looking up, kind of anticipating, waiting for something to happen, and it never did. So maybe I'll just throw that out there. Non-racing, no flyover.
You know what? That's a disappointment, and that's something I never noticed with night races, that they don't have flyovers. It makes sense. But I feel like the flyover is kind of low enough where you would be able to see him anyways, even in the dark, you know? Like,
All you need to do is hear those jets go by
That's
anyway,
it.
too, you know? Just the noise would suffice.
Because it's always dusk when we start a night race. It's never nighttime, you know? Like, man, well, that's a bummer. That was a bummer.
Oh, you know what? I want to bring this up, too, before I forget. Being there, the dust. I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was not as bad as, like, people make it to be. Like, oh, you know, like, it's super, like, okay, the grandstands, you get a little dusty. The thing is, what creeps up on you, you don't realize you're getting dirty as the race is going on because you barely see the dust when you're sitting there. You don't know you're in the dust cloud when you're in the dust cloud. So at first I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is fine. I'm not dirty at all. I brought a little thing. We cut a pair of like pantyhose to put
I saw
over the top
that
of
was
our
genius.
ears.
Yeah.
That was really
smart. So I would just take that off and I'd squeeze it and I'd put it over the top. And you did need that because it was subtle, the dust on getting over everything. But the next day I noticed I was super dirty. But in the moment, it's not an issue watching the race. For a fan, at least, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So if that was a deterrence for anyone that was going to go to the race, the dirt and the dust, not that big of a deal.
So, Eric, I'm happy you brought the pantyhose up. I have to tell you this. So after you sent us the picture of that, they had the pantyhose on the beer. You know, I was home for Easter. I was talking to my old man about it. And he goes, well, we used to go up to 5 Mile Point up in New York for the dirt races up there and everything. He goes, I never put pantyhose over my beer. The beer didn't last long enough to need it.
Is that a burn on Easter Sunday from Mark? Oh, man.
Shots fired. Shots fired,
dude. Ricochet. I'm taking some ricochets here. Minga.
You know what you should do about the little tiny pony cans? Yeah, you just crush them in 2 sips and then you're good.
Yeah.
For the future. Year. What was I gonna say? Oh, with the dust though, I was thinking when you said it was overcast all weekend, pretty much. I wonder if that helped to keep some of the dust down, keep a lot of moisture in the track, and that way we didn't see what we saw last year in the sun with just everything getting dried out so quick and everything. So I feel like you really with the cloud cover, you got the best weather you needed for a dirt race.
Yeah.
Right, and that was kind of the mood all around. I don't think people were worried about it because, once again, the crowd was a dirt crowd, so they kind of knew sun bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, overcast and, little rain in the forecast wouldn't be a bad thing.
All right, Matt, how about you? What was your checkers and records for the weekend?
Yeah, my checkers goes to Tyler Reddick, and for nothing, yes, for everything that he did on the track, but for specifically the post-race actions that he had with Chase Briscoe. For anyone who didn't see it, Tyler Reddick was doing his post-race interview with Fox. Chase Briscoe walked up to apologize. Him and Reddick kind of laughed it off. Reddick even owned up to it, even a little bit more than I think he even should have.
I think so too.
Saying that he should have never let Briscoe get up to him in the first place. And I just wanted to say that I already had a lot of respect for Tyler Reddick as a driver and as a person, but it went even higher for me. He didn't throw a temper tantrum like some people would for what, if you want to call it getting wrecked or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
He owned up to it. He even took blame, which I thought was unnecessary. He didn't have to do that. And he showed a lot of maturity, and the dude is going to win, and the dude deserves to win sooner than later. So I wanted to give my checkers to him for sure for that whole altercation. Or lack thereof an altercation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's just Tyler Reddick, man. He puts a lot of pressure on himself. He puts a lot of blame when he doesn't have a good day. That's kind of what I like about him too. Like he never shies away from owning up to his mistakes. And I just like his style of driving ever since the Xfinity series. The thing that bothered me though is, I don't know, man. I feel like he showed a little bit of weakness there. Like I was just like, at first I thought like, oh yeah, that's great sportsmanship. Even Chase Briscoe, when he was walking up, there's an interview with him, another video you could see online. He goes, yeah, if he punches me in the face, like, yeah, I deserve it, And I don't think he deserved to get punched in the face. And I don't know how I think Tyler Reddick should have handled the situation. I don't know. I felt I felt weird seeing them kind of laughing it off, and it was kind of like an awkward laugh, you know. You know, the situations where you're like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna laugh because like this is weird, you know.
And plenty of them.
But then I like listening to NASCAR radio yesterday, and especially Chocolate Myers on Sirius XM, who works for RCR, who used to be the gas man for Dale Earnhardt. Obviously, he knows the RCR guys very well. He still works there. He runs the museum down there, and he was like, I just can't imagine laughing after someone wrecked you going for your first win. Like he wrecked you, and you're just laughing it off. And I'm like, yeah, that is kind of fucked up, you know. Like you think he'd be a little more pissed off. And then there's a shot of RC Richard Childress coming off the spotter stand because he's always watching from the spotter stand.
I thought he was going to tell someone to hold his watch.
Exactly. Yeah. Like he looked fucking furious. He's like, son of a bitch. And I'm like, man, I bet you in RC's like eyes, he's like, oh, man, I don't know about this Tyler Reddick guy. He's a good driver, but like, man, he's got to get pissed off, you know, because like. Even Dale Jr. pointed it out on Twitter. There was 2 RCR guys right there looking like they were ready to fight. And that's kind of what I like about RCR to begin with, too. They're a bunch of junkyard dogs from Welcome, North Carolina, ready to throw punches anytime, you know. And we've seen Tyler Reddick throw punches at Cole Custer in the Xfinity Series. I know he has it in him. I just, I don't know, man. I just hope it's not a sign of weakness for other drivers to kind of run him over in the future, because Listen to this radio. Sometimes he does get run over by some of these veteran guys, and I just hope it's not a sign of weakness.
So, dude,
I'll say this, Whitey. I think it went the way it went. I think he handled it the way he's supposed to handle it. Professional, you know, like out there, that stuff happens. He realizes that.
I think some of the difference was it was Chase Briscoe, and they raced each other.
They're friends. They race with each other. They understand that happens. That's what Reddick would have needed to do to get that done. And watching that video, that post-race, Briscoe has him by about 10 inches and
really
about 150 pounds. So I think Reddick in his mind knew, like, if I even try to go after Briscoe, he's going to hug me like I'm a little kid, squeeze me, and my head's going to pop.
So, Eric, you have an older brother. Matt, you have an older sister. I don't know if they ever pulled this one on you. But my brother used to put his hand on my forehead as I was swinging, and he'd hold me there at a distance where I couldn't get the fist close enough to him. And I think Briscoe could have did that.
100%. And in my mind, I go, when I saw that interview, I'm like, he is way bigger than Reddick. And I go, Reddick's actually smart right now. That's smart on Reddick to not do or say anything. Get out of there alive, buddy.
I wonder if it was another short guy like Kyle Larson, if it would have been different, if he would have thrown a punch.
I think it would have. Honestly, that had to have been a factor because, like, imagine this. You just get wrecked by somebody when you were about to win a race.
Yeah.
You don't win, and then that guy knocks you out after the race.
Yeah.
That's even a trouble for, you know what I mean? Like, you just got wrecked and lost, and you got knocked out by the guy that did it because you were mad. Like,
yeah, no, I can see it going the wrong way real quick.
You might have lucked out here.
I'll say this to wrap it up on a more serious note, is that with the whole respecting and hoping he doesn't get pushed around on the racetrack because he quote unquote is letting this happen to him.
Yeah.
Sometimes the respect isn't about toughness, isn't about, oh, I hope this guy doesn't retaliate. Sometimes it's just about like, you know, this guy's a clean racer. I'm going to race him clean because he races other people clean.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't need to be a tough guy in order to get the respect out there.
And you all know
just my 2 cents.
For sure.
That's a good point too. And I think Reddick realizes that he's made some boneheaded moves in the past. You know, he's taken out Kyle Busch at Daytona running for that last playoff spot.
William Byron.
You know, like he accidentally got into the back William Byron last year. So I understand. I think it is I think it's just one of those things where he understands you know, things happen or what have you.
It's like Larson. Larson always said, and it could be this dirt track respect that you earn because they punish you a little bit if you're too aggressive every week going to these racetracks down in those dirt cars. And, you know, Larson always said, I don't want to win my first race, you know, wrecking somebody for a win. And he had an opportunity, I remember in Dover, to punt Kenseth out of the way. And Kenseth, he couldn't pass him clean.
Yeah.
He would have had to move him, and he didn't. So there might be something with that dirt background and a little bit more respect you have for racers around you when you're coming up through the field.
That's true. How about your records, Matt? What was your records for the weekend?
Well, I'm sure you guys can already know where this is going. I've had people reach out to me asking me if this is going to be my records.
Of course.
Yes, it is. Cody Ware.
Yeah.
Cody Ware. I'm sick of this dude. Like, I know we've been making jokes about him for the last year and a half since we started this podcast, but like, it's at the point now where like the guy clearly doesn't belong in the Cup Series. Whitey, do you remember, and even Eric, I know you were a wrestling fan back in the day, the term jobber?
He is a jobber, 100%. He might as well be on a starting park team with his talent level.
Yeah.
For the fan at home that didn't watch wrestling, the jobber was always like the local guy that would get a shot to audition for like WWF back in the day, where he had like no gimmick, no name. They didn't even introduce him. He was already in the ring. And then the Ultimate Warrior would come down, shake the ropes, pick the guy up, body slam him, pin him, and pay him. And he's out, you know?
Yeah. Like his sole purpose was to lose.
Yeah.
Every match. Never had a shot at winning. That's what he was hired to do. That's what Cody Ware has done. Now, and I also want to say this, and I really want to drive this next point home. I'm not wrecking him solely because I'm a Chase fan.
It's the body of work at this point.
It's a body of work. So let me just read a couple stats off for you. So Cody Ware's career stats in the Cup Series, he's raced 64 races.
Yeah.
64 races. His average finish in the Cup Series is 32nd.
Yeah.
Guess how many top 5 finishes he has? None. Guess how many top 10 finishes he has? None. Guess how many top 20 finishes he has? 2.
Yeah.
In 64 races. He's actually led 6 laps. Good for him.
Well, that's under caution when they're
out of
cycling through.
13,183 laps that he has run, he has led 6 of them. So what my point is that if for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about or why I'm wrecking him, him and Chase had an incident on the dirt where Chase slid up the racetrack and made contact with him.
It wasn't even that. So I searched for this clip on YouTube to find it again, just to watch it over and over again to see what really sparked the beginning of it. And what happened was Chase was trying to pass Cody Ware. Going into the turn, he was going to go high. And then Cody Ware came up and blocked him, and Chase got pushed into the wall as Cody Ware blocked him. So then in the turn, he just got sick of him, and he punted him out of the way, and that's it.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out of the way, jobber. Get out of the way.
Classic short track move.
You don't belong on the same surface as these guys. And then after that happened, shortly after was a caution, and Cody Ware drove right up to the back of Chase and smashed him a couple of times. Just pretty much exactly what we saw Ty Gibbs do in the Xfinity Series last week at Martinsville.
Here's the thing. Before you go any further, I don't even want to disparage the back marker guys, because obviously a lot of those guys do have talent. You have to have talent to be in the Cup Series, obviously. And those guys are running their own races. Even if you see them a couple laps down, they're running for position because every position counts when it comes to making money and stuff. But you rarely hear about those guys causing as many on-track incidents as Cody Ware does. Him and Quinn Half would spin out at least once a race, you know? And how many times has Cody Ware cut someone off trying to get onto pit road during a green flag stop and cause an accident? He did it at Daytona in 2019. It got into his own teammate and did it, and took out Tyler Reddick in his debut race and Jimmy Johnson as they're getting onto pit road. You know, that's just one example. Martinsville last year, the Saturday night race, got pissed off at his own teammate and spun his own teammate out. And I'm pretty sure that was under caution also. Like, he has a history of hitting people under caution. He has a Kyle Busch attitude with I don't know,
with a Cody Ware
talent. With Cody Ware talent.
With Busch
with Cody Ware talent is what it comes down to.
With Bush's baked beans talent, you know?
Yeah.
So So I'm
just sick of it. I don't know. So on the business side of things too, like it's incredibly stupid for the progression of your career. Like if this is what you want to do for a living, like I can't imagine sponsors seeing something like that over and over and over again and saying, that's definitely our guy that we want, sponsoring our product. So I just think it's career suicide when you continue to do things like that. I mean, like I said, the guy clearly doesn't deserve to be on the same track as a lot of these guys. And,
but we didn't finish the incident though. So he got moved out of the way, and then he comes and he tries to take Chase out during caution laps. He comes up, smashes into the back of him, tries to turn him unsuccessfully, and then moves on because he had the free pass or whatever, and he was coming around. But yeah, just uncalled for.
And so that's the root cause of why I'm wrecking him, is because of like a guy of Cody Ware's stature or lack thereof should not be running into and doing those kinds of things to a Cup champion. I'm not saying it just because it's Chase Elliott. It could be Kurt Busch, it could be Kyle Busch, it could be whoever, whatever Harvick, it could be whatever champions out there.
Yeah.
Guys like that shouldn't be doing that to the Cup Series champions. That's my opinion. I know Ty Gibbs was fined $15,000 for his incident last week in Martinsville. I hope NASCAR steps up and does the same or more to Cody.
I don't think they will. I think the Ty Gibbs fine was because it was on pit road after the race.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's officials, there's more people on there. I don't think NASCAR is going to do anything. But it's just it's stupid on his part, because then you're like, you have a potential to take your own car out. I don't know. I'm going to give my checkers and wreckers real quick. I did come up with a wreckers off the top of my head, but my checkers, and I said it earlier, getting that whole race in after stage 2, there was some confusion with the running order and the threat of rain. A lot of people weren't sure with the way we were running the pit stops this week, because, no live pit stops. And I was just really glad we got the full race in. No real drama surrounding a NASCAR officiating call with the rain. No Mickey Mouse win drama on Twitter. No matter how much I would have liked to see the race end in late stage 3. But I'll take it. I did a lot of jokes where I'm like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. Some old lady's missing the 10 o'clock news broadcast. We gotta call this race for rain and all sorts of stuff. But I really was happy to see we get the whole race in. And my wreckers goes to Chase Briscoe, not for the bonehead move, not for anything other than taking away the win from Tyler Reddick and taking away that first win diecast from me. Because how cool would that race winning diecast be with all that mud and dirt on that white car, where the front of the car kind of looked gold going into the gold of the 3Chi logo and stuff. Just would have been a real sick diecast. I collect diecasts. Obviously, you guys see them in the background on the YouTube, and I switch them out from time to time. And I really would have loved to have that diecast in the collection as Reddick's first win. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll come up eventually. Maybe we'll have to wait until next year for Bristol Dirt. I don't know. Hopefully not that long, but you never know. But that's my checkers and wreckers for the weekend. Really not a whole lot to wreck. It was just a great weekend overall. You guys want to go over the race notes a little bit? Look at the top 10.
Let's hear them.
All right. So we had Kyle Busch. This was just my recollection. I thought he had a pretty solid 5th place car all night. Finished 5th in both stages and running 3rd before the wreck, leading him to the win. What did you guys think about Kyle Busch?
A lot of great saves he had. I mean, from my perspective, I watched him for quite a few laps going around there. He was kind of going up high. I think his car was a little better up top, and he was kicking that thing sideways up top, and when he was coming through the exit of his turns, that car kicked back every once in a while on him, and he had a couple good saves. But yeah, he was fast all day, and he put him in position to win.
I tell you what, you guys got to follow Kyle Busch on Instagram and Twitter. If you don't, he's absolutely hilarious. He posted a picture of him winning the Prelude to the Dream. Do you guys remember that? It was a Tony Stewart one-off race deal at Eldora, where a bunch of Cup guys went and raced modifieds up there. I guess he won there And then I think he was at the track with his kid, and he won and during the Chili Bowl he won that heat, right? Or it wasn't the Chili Bowl. It was one of those like dirt national races and stuff. But maybe I don't remember for sure. But he posted the pictures and he goes, I have a little bit of a history with dirt. If you didn't know, I'm a bit of a dirt guy myself. I thought that was really funny because obviously he's only done it a little bit. And then even his son tweeted, which I'm sure his mom runs the Twitter account, but he's like, oh, I showed my dad everything he knows about dirt, which I thought that was pretty cute. So.
Yeah. So one thing that I've really fallen in love with, like, hey, listen, my name is Statman Matt.
Yeah.
Is the loop data. It really paints a broad picture of how a race went for each individual driver.
Yeah.
I'm not here for anyone saying that Kyle Busch. Well, I mean, yes, he did luck into it, but he was also in position the entire race.
Night. Yeah.
He had the best. He tied Tyler Reddick with the best average running position the entire race, which was 5th. He averaged a running position inside the top 5 the entire race. So it wasn't a fluke.
No.
It was just, part of luck, which is a part of racing. And it worked out for him. He put himself in position like hundreds of other drivers have done in the past. So he definitely had one of the other cars to beat. I'm not going to get too far into all the rest of the loop data of him, but just doing a deep dive on him, he deserved it.
Absolutely. Let's see. Second place, obviously Tyler Reddick. We talked about him. I feel like he was just kind of in the top 10, top 15 for most of the day. And then they didn't pit during that stage break, and that kind of put him into 4th position, capitalized, and then speed kept him in the lead for the rest of that stage up until the end. And then 3rd, Joey Logano had a solid top 10 car all night, finished in the top 3. Of course, the defending winner from last year, and he'll be the first one to tell you he knows nothing about dirt. And I was listening to an interview with him today on the morning drive. He was doing his monthly spot there, and he was talking about just how different this year was from last year. Like last year, there wasn't a whole lot of moisture in the track, and you kind of had to drive it like a pavement track, And then this year, he's like, you really saw the dirt guys shine, because the dirt guys, like when you're running dirt, you kind of do everything opposite of your instincts of an asphalt driver. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And just solid top 3 for Joey Logano. Kyle Larson looked good all night long, won stage 1, but it felt like he was sitting around 5th for most of the night. What'd you notice at all in the grandstands of these top 4, top 5 guys with Blaney? He finished both stages in 9th, ran around 10th all night long, but he stayed out, helped keep him up front. Is that what you saw in person, or did you see any different kind of battles between guys that maybe TV missed?
Like Matt said, like those guys were the ones that were up front most of the time, unless you had people stay out, like when the Chastain and Suarez stayed out.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a drastic turn of events and people moving that way up in position, those people were up front all day long. And, I will say one thing. I know there was certain cars that were able to do it, but it just seemed like passing, it was hard to pass. If you were in certain traffic, it was hard to pass. And even the top 5, I mean, look at the lead changes we talked about. Not that many, but the excitement was there. The excitement was there because the battles were happening, but they were just such tight battles that the changes weren't there.
Yeah.
And they kind of got stuck, but the battles were just crazy. It's not they got stuck single file behind one another. No, they were running into each other. They just couldn't get around the guy.
Yeah.
But they were racing all day long. Logano had a good car. My middle finger hurts so much from having it out every corner he came around. But they had solid cars. Larson, I thought he had a decent car. I think when he smacked that wall, it set him back a little bit, and then he kind of had to come back later on too. But the one car that I will say was passing, and what I noticed, and in one of my Snapchats I even said it, I'm like, look out for this car. and it was that 42 game car. Eric's teammate Ty Dillon.
Yeah,
he was able to stick that car anywhere on the racetrack and gain positions from it, and he had a hell of a race. And I thought he would have beaten him bang like LaJoie style, but he actually had a really, really good car underneath him, and I was impressed with him all day. And being Eric Jones's teammate, I thought Eric would have had a better day, and he had a good car.
Yeah.
But when I talk getting stuck in traffic, he got stuck around the Bubba, Blaney, and some of those guys in that mid-tier pack around like 15th to 20th, and he just couldn't get out of there. Like his car, he wanted to so
he was just
bad.
trapped.
He was trapped. He had a fast car. I knew he found the middle. I watched him go up the racetrack a little bit, and I'm screaming, "Stay out on the racetrack! Stay out on the racetrack!
He was
get position!" And he never stayed out because he kept getting a little bit of damage. His whole right side of his car from beating and banging in there was almost tore off. But track position in certain parts was key because you did get trapped around that racetrack.
Was he starting on that inside line a lot too? Because it seems like
no, he was going back and forth. He was starting on the inside, then he had the outside on a couple, and it just didn't matter because it's almost like the pack of, let's say, 5 cars he was racing with were all the same speed.
Yeah.
And everyone's where they were at. They just, okay, you're here. I want to go there. Ooh, I'm going to move you a little bit. But as you move the other guy a little bit, the other guy behind you took advantage, and he went underneath. And it was just like they went back and forth all day. So to see Ty Dillon, he actually had the most passes of the day out of anybody, even ahead of Kyle Busch and them, with 58 quality passes.
Yep. I was just looking at the loop data, Eric. I was just going to hammer that home for you. Yeah, Ty Dillon had led with 58 quality passes. He actually had the 6th best driver rating of the day as well at a 118. Ty Dillon had a hell of a day, and I told you guys, like, this loop data, I want to marry this loop data. Sorry, Stephanie, but this is amazing. Like this, it just gives you such a broad picture of each individual racer's day, and all these stats are backing up exactly what Eric just said.
How about the stats on Alex Bowman? Because 6th place finish absolutely blew my mind. He had himself an up and down day. Of course, getting caught up into some stuff in the back. He rallied back for a third stage, rallied back in the 3rd stage for a 6th place finish. He was one of those guys that I thought was going to get stuck a couple laps down and just never recover. I put him in my fantasy garage at the end of stage 2. They stayed out during the stage break and then just made hay that whole 3rd stage. And I really suffered in my fantasy day because of that, but absolutely insane performance by Alex Bowman, just coming back. Another one of those dirt guys. He's got that dirt sprint car, and he messes around with it a little bit. Christopher Bell, I feel like he had a better night than his finish. I felt like in the top 5 all day long, and actually a really contender for most of the night, finishing 7th place. What did you guys think about those two guys?
I was really enjoying watching C. Bell. I still rock the number 20 koozies that I have in some of my older gear from the 20 car. So whether it has C. Bell on it, Eric Jones or Kenseth, I kind of tend to still root for him. He had a fast car all day, and he was, some of the battles that I enjoyed watching the most was him and Briscoe. They had some really, really good battles around that racetrack. And like you said, him, Briscoe, Reddick, those guys up front, they had some awesome battles. And, they seemed, the people that like Reddick and Briscoe and them, they would get out so far ahead of 3rd place at certain points of that race, and still side by side battling. That was the impressive part to me. And you could tell from that moment, I knew the dirt guys were going to have an advantage, unlike last year.
Yeah.
And I know in last show, I think I might have even said that I don't think dirt is going to matter.
I know for a fact I was real weary about playing some of the dirt guys.
Because it wasn't a factor last race, but now we could see as NASCAR fans how much track prep will make or break a dirt race. So, I kind of ate my words a little bit, thinking that the dirt guys weren't going to have an advantage. And, once I saw Briscoe and Reddick and then fly out front by, like, it had to be 7 car lengths, and it was running insane. Away with it. I'm like, oh, okay, dirt guys, this is their race today. And at one point, the whole top 10, I think, had a dirt background. And I remember noticing it and mentioning it to my girlfriend when we were there. And, it was for the dirt guys this week.
Yeah. Just to mirror what Eric said and what you said with Christopher Bell, he had an average running position of 6th. He really flexed his muscles. He had the 4th best driver rating of a 125.8, which is phenomenal. So he had himself a day, and it's all about, like you said, Eric, it's all about track prep for these dirt races. They got it a little bit better this year. Let's see what they can do next year. They're gonna have 2 years of knowledge that they're gonna be able to put into it again. And if they do run it, which, like I said earlier in the show, I believe they're going to run another Bristol dirt race. I think I have all the confidence in the world that it's going to be another knockout of the park, type of race.
Yeah, and let's see, 8th place we had Chase Elliott. Like we talked about earlier, he had a pretty interesting night with Cody, where no points in stage 1, but a 4th place finish in stage 2, and pulled off an 8th place finish. And then so what I'm interested in to see, Matt, bring up the loop data for 9th place, Michael McDowell, because the way I remember it, I thought he was floating around 10th to 15th all night long, which is a pretty solid night for them, especially since we consider him more of a road course guy than anything. I don't know if he has any dirt experience besides last year's dirt race. And they even gained some stage points in the 2nd stage. So just really surprised by Michael McDowell's performance.
Yeah, he had an average running position of 13th, so about what you thought. Let me see here. He had 85 green flag passes. I mean, that's a heavy amount of green flag passes. Quality passes 55. That's got to be towards the top as well. And then a driver rating of 73.7. That's low to middle pack.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if those road course guys do well at short tracks. They tend to, because of the shifting. They know and understand and have a feel for downshifting and shifting and when to do it, because they do it so much at a road course. Sometimes that shifting knowledge and being able to know how your car is going to handle, helps at short tracks because they're shifting throughout each lap pretty much.
It would be interesting to know who was shifting on Sunday and who wasn't. I know for sure Chase Briscoe was. He shifted every single lap, but I don't think a lot of guys were.
The one thing I love about this new car, especially at night, is when they shift. You see the flames come out of the side.
Yeah.
So I was watching that. It was Briscoe and Blaney at one point were running side by side and coming in and out of the corners. You can see right when they were shifting. And it was interesting to see, Briscoe shifted a car length deeper into the turn than Blaney would, and then he would get better drive off.
Yeah.
And I was watching that for a couple laps because they stayed on those two, and you could tell when they were shifting because the fire's blowing out of their exhaust on the side. And I never cared that much about shifting in my life, but now that I can see when they're doing it, and I have two guys that are running so close together, seeing when they're doing it in the corners,
and to see that advantage.
It was it was just like it was a split second. Ooh, Briscoe went first before Blaney, with the shifting, and that's what it seemed to be the difference too.
And with that, just like iRacing experience, which it's not a whole lot, but you do get a little sense of driving these cars. I was doing a lot of shifting a couple weeks ago in New Hampshire, and I noticed my drive off was better than everyone else. I would back up the corners and go in slower where they would kind of catch up to me. And then I would just take off because I'd wait for the RPMs to drop. I'd shift down a gear where it was almost seamless. And then you have that extra little push. So like you said, Briscoe was waiting maybe a car length longer to do it. Maybe then, that meant Blaney was shifting a little too early. The RPMs didn't settle quite. It was a little harder and you might have jerked the car a little bit and stuff. Just real interesting things, little tiny things to pay attention to that a lot of people really wouldn't pay attention to during a race. And those are the little things that make it really interesting to watch. It's like it's like golf and baseball. The more you know, the more interesting things become.
Yes.
And not that stereotypical, oh, they're just turning left. Like there's a whole lot of little, subtleties that go into it. And back to the race notes though. 10th place, Ty Dillon. We talked about him. Had the what was it? The most
Quality
passes. So what's quality
passes.
passes versus green flag passes? What's the difference there?
I don't know what goes into that metric. It's something that I've been trying to figure out as well.
I would imagine it would be passes on the lead lap to gain position.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like it makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Versus if you're 2 laps down and you're passing everybody, they really don't mean anything because you're still 2 laps. You know what I mean? I think like that might be lead lap like passes. I think that's what I assume. I don't know. Don't take me, for that, but that's what I would assume.
Anyone who's listening, if you do know the answer to it, please comment below in the YouTube page or on our Facebook page or something, because I really want to know. Like I said, I've been doing a deeper dive into this loop data just because I want to understand our sport as much as I possibly could, and this loop data is helping that. So if anyone knows the answer to that, what makes a quality pass, please comment.
I wonder if it's like a pass and then you stay in that position for the lap, like to the lap.
It could be something like that. Yeah.
We'll have to do some research, or if someone knows, please comment on the YouTube page or hit us up on Twitter at @bump_the_run_pod. Follow us there and get some interaction, because we like going back and forth with people. A lot more people have been commenting on the YouTube videos, and I appreciate every single one. I tried to comment back as soon as I see them. Sometimes it might take me a day or two before I notice them, but I don't want to ignore anybody. I really do appreciate everything. Someone was listening, a newer commenter. They commented on the last 2 pages. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name for sure. Here, I'm gonna pull it up to give them a shout out. But they were loving the Willie B old 2 clocks. Slick Willie two clocks,
baby. Old Willie two clocks.
Willie 2 clocks, baby.
And they're like, oh, it's like from Goodfellas, which is that is what inspired it. So Race Grub with 2 B's. I appreciate you've been commenting the last couple videos, and I appreciate the back and forth. Hope you keep commenting, and all the people we met along the way. Charlie that we met down in Daytona. He found us on here, and all the friends of the show, of course, the ones we interact with all the time, Shredder, Justin Pierce, Bumper Run Pod, baby.
Swag.
We have we have t-shirts. Hit up the Facebook page. You can get the t-shirt link and the Twitter. You buy one, and we make like $2 on every shirt that we sell, so that's cool. Helps.
The plan is to put that money right back into the production to give you guys a better product as well for the listeners. So.
It pays for hosting right now. It costs money to put this show on the air, and we don't make any money yet. But hopefully eventually we break even.
Once I get to the fine people at Polar, we're gonna be making some money. I just need them to give me a call back. I've left 143 messages. Polar, call me back. We want your sponsorship. We love your product.
I have a lemon Polar right now, but I have some LaCroix in the fridge that I can pull out just as quickly. So get back to us, Polar.
I got a Mandarin going right now.
Let's talk about some of the guys that had some rough nights. Chase Briscoe. I felt like he had one of the best cars all night long until that last corner resulted in a 22nd place finish. We talked all about that. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he looked good early on. I don't remember what exactly happened to him though. He ended up in some shit, right? Was it during the Chase Elliott, Cody Ware thing?
Ricky had a couple run-ins. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought he was going to be a contender, for the night too. Cause he looked great last year. He got a top 5 last year.
Second, I believe last year.
Yeah. Even in our gambling, segment, I said, that's a good pick at what he was rated. I think they were saying plus 1,400, something like that. So, I mean, it didn't work out in the end, but I thought he was going to be a good pick. Another guy I thought was going to be a good pick, Austin Dillon. He had a great night until the last, restart there. I don't know exactly what happened. He had some sort of accident. I know Kurt Busch ended up getting into the back of him, but it seemed like he just lost power out of nowhere. Do you guys know what happened to Austin Dillon? Besides, I just saw him start fading real quick, and I thought he was going to get a top 5 finish. I thought he could have pulled off a win too. Suarez really fast again for the second year on dirt, led 64 laps, finished 12th. So not a bad finish for Daniel Suarez. Last year he led a bunch of laps too. Just great track house, man. Track house killing it.
Ton of Suarez merch I saw people walking around. That was one where he even got his cheers when he came out for driver intros was actually pretty impressive as well. So Suarez and Trackhouse, I think they're doing a great job, and they're slowly building a fan base over there.
Well, hey, listen, if you're not his amigo, you're his enemigo.
I love that tweet. That was a great one. I'm a Daniel amigo. I pull for him every week. If Reddick's not doing well and Daniel is, I'm like, come on, let's go, Daniel. But another D, Denny, he blew a motor, man. Denny Hamlin having a rough fucking season, huh?
Yeah.
I don't.
That win is saving his ass. I said it. That win might be, a blessing in disguise, because besides that, it has been probably his worst season so far. I mean, you take that win away, it's almost hard to believe that he got it. With the other races and the results, what he's been going through.
Yeah, even with the win, he's sitting in 23rd place in the standings. And I don't know if you guys saw him criticizing 2311, where like it was after Richmond, after he won.
Yeah.
And he looks at the pile and he goes, what the fuck? Well, Bubba Wallace, who's been having terrible luck this season too, he's in 22nd in the points. So Denny, as an owner, maybe maybe lay off the 2311 guys a little bit when your performance is lacking just as much as they are. I feel like it's a Toyota problem in general. And I don't know, Kurt Busch isn't doing too well either. 2311, maybe they have some internal issues more than I thought they did. Maybe it's not the driver, as so many people love to blame, because where's Kurt at,
Truex absolutely terrible this weekend. I didn't even know it was at the racetrack. That's how like non-existent that 19 car was. The heat races, dead last, not doing anything. I'm like, okay, maybe he's saving his car, blah, blah, blah. Man, he was just, I forgot about him altogether on Sunday night, to be honest. So yeah, Toyota overall, I mean, they have wins with Kyle here and Denny, but man, are they coming out of nowhere and kind of being, like I said, that blessing in disguise, because Toyota as a whole, you have a couple wins here, but not running great.
Where do you think MTJ is sitting in the point standings after so many weeks talking about how bad he's doing?
I'd say 10th.
5th.
He's 7th. It blows my mind that he's in 7th, because I feel like he's been a non-factor all season long.
You gotta look at it this way. There's been a couple other drivers that have been non-factors as well, that are usually up front too. And, when you have that parity, this is what you get.
No, that's
you kind
true.
of have some people that aren't up there taking those spots. It leaves those spots open for other people to go and take them. So
I forget what the statistic was, but someone tweeted, if you look at the point standings today versus the point standings this race weekend last year for the same amount, like first place is like 100 points less than what it was last year. So that just goes to show you how many points are really being spread out to everybody else, which is kind of interesting. And the last thing I have for race notes, I don't know if you guys have anything else to add, but Kevin Harvick had overheating issues and then got caught up in a wreck. A guy that I gave my checkers to, I believe I gave my checkers to him last week. If not, it was a couple weeks ago. Just really struggling again. And kind of had a piss poor attitude going into the race too. He did not want to be on dirt at all. It showed, and the performance showed.
That was almost my records up until my buddy Cody did what he did. Just real bad attitude. I kind of, under the radar hinted toward that when I gave my checkers to Reddick, and I said Reddick didn't throw a temper tantrum, when if anybody in the state of Tennessee deserved to throw a temper tantrum, it was Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
Harvick, dude, it's just he's another one of those guys where like I want to like him. He's a champion of our sport. He's done so many good things in our sport, but like he says and does things like that piss me off. It's like, dude, you have such a bad attitude going into the race. You say we don't need to be here. No, maybe Kevin, you don't need to be here because you're not good at it. You know, that don't ruin it for everyone just because don't take your ball and go home essentially just because you're not good here. I don't know.
Yeah,
My opinion, just one man's opinion.
No, I think you're spot on for Kevin Harvick so far this season. And I am a fan of Kevin Harvick. I kind of like that he's kind of an outspoken jerk sometimes.
No.
You know,
I love the outspoken. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
I love the outspoken approach with them. I've come to love Kyle Busch.
But the performance is just
starting to kind of get into that. The outspokenness is great, but when you're always so goddamn negative, like that's when I kind of have a problem.
Yeah.
He comes off as the old salty vet. That's what it comes off as, you know.
And it's sad.
But that's all I have for race notes. You guys have anything else from the race that stood out to you, especially you, Eric? Being live in the stands, you get to see a lot more of what's actually going on the track. So,
if I'm going to be completely honest, I was bombed during the race.
Yeah.
I was just having such a good time interacting with the fans around me, watching the racing going on. And I really solely paid attention to my driver a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I'm watching him and his battles. And I will say this. I wrote down in my notes, EJ had a bad day, but a great day. And by great day, I mean, it was the most fun I've ever had watching my driver run 20th consistently.
Yeah.
It was like, normally when he's running 20th, 22nd back, you're like, he has a bell. This is, and you're like, you're tuned out. You're watching somebody else at that point.
Yeah.
The racing was so good and so intense all throughout the pack that I almost forgot that there was a battle for position and almost to win the race. I was just so consumed by the action. I forgot he was in 20th because the battle, it seemed like, was for first place back in 20th.
Yeah.
So if I could take anything away from this race is no matter where your driver is, no matter what he's doing, he's going to be in a battle. It's going to be entertaining and exciting. And, you know, whenever you could have fun watching your driver run 20th, I think that race deserves an A+. So that was all I had to finish my notes. Was he had a bad day, but it was fun to watch.
All right. Someone else who had a real bad day here on the Bump and Run podcast. Every podcast talks about the winner. We just did it. But we like to talk about the last place person too. And that was Xfinity Series veteran Justin Allgaier. He was taken out early on in the race while running for Spire. He's run a few cup races over the last few years. Unfortunately, he's never had the best luck when it comes to running a cup race. I remember the last time he was filling in for Jimmy Johnson at Indy. And I'm pretty sure he got in an accident on like pit road or something like that, and just felt bad for
Allgaier smashed a wall right in front of me.
Yeah,
he absolutely buried that wall, and I felt bad about it because not 2 laps prior to that, or like a little bit prior to that, I go, Dana, I'm going, look at that, because all the lights, the paint schemes were beautiful. So I was Googling over some of the cars, and I go, that 77 car, that Brandt car, I go, that's a good-looking car. It was like black with red and gold going through it.
Yeah.
And not like couple laps later where it was, he was hitting the wall. And I'm like, oh, man, I just jinxed him.
You probably jinxed Reddick, too. That's what I heard it. You know, he's coming for him. And then, bam, took him out. You can check out that video again at Twitter at Bump the Letter and Run Pod. It was a really funny video. I'm glad you shared your weekend with us on Snapchat. I wish the listeners at home would have got to see everything, but I don't think I don't think we want that getting out there. Something we didn't have at Bristol Dirt was the choose cone. Something we got out here, though. The choose cone is out. It's the pick a lane segment. I give you guys some topics, and we try to debate them. Sometimes we end up on the same side of the argument, though. It's been happening a lot. I want to know, I feel like we're going to be unanimous here. Is Chase Briscoe the top dog at Stewart-Haas Racing, or is there still hope for Kevin Harvick? Matt?
So I'll take this one just because I did some digging into it, because when I first read that question, it really made me thinking. And I don't know if you're going to be right about your unanimous call there. So
Okay.
just to kind of compare them where they're at right now in the season of 2022, Chase Briscoe has 1 win. Kevin Harvick does not have a win. Chase Briscoe's average finishing position 15.8, where Kevin Harvick's is 15.2. Right there.
Yeah.
Laps led, Briscoe has 187 laps led, where Harvick only has 12 laps led. That's a pretty big discrepancy. Briscoe has 2 top 5s. Harvick has 1 top 5. So again, right there. And then they both have 3 top 10s. So I kind of look at that. Yeah, Briscoe has the win, but it's just a win. It is his first career win, though, so that's big. But what I'm trying to get at is, yes, Briscoe has the win of the year, but that's not enough right now to knock off Harvick as the top dog at SHR yet. Just because of the body of work, like I just previously said in the previous segment, Kevin Harvick
he's still 20 points ahead of Harvick in the points right now, though. You know, he's still 20 points. He's 20 points ahead of Harvick in the point standings right now.
Points
too,
can be
though.
made up in Talladega if
That's true.
Or if Briscoe gets knocked out in the first stage and Harvick runs in the top 5.
That's true.
That can be made up. I just don't think it's enough to knock Harvick off as the top dog yet, just because he's a Hall of Fame, he's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's a Cup champion. Not yet.
Okay.
Yet.
All right. How about you, Eric? How are you feeling?
I agree with Matt. I almost feel the same way, but it just feels like it already happened to me for some reason. Like my gut feeling, I already forgot about Kevin Harvick, and I already am moved on to Chase Briscoe. Harvick to me is
he's the shiny new toy.
And I consider him that veteran who's a legend. He's Kevin Harvick. That's who he is, but his time and era is kind of, it's the door's closing. It's gonna happen. So I think in my head moved on to Briscoe. Not that like you said, Matt, he might be on the racetrack now. They're similar, but I think it's going to by the end of the season, they found someone in Chase Briscoe, and I think Harvick, if there's someone to take that spot over, he's a great one to do it. So I think he, in my mind, he is.
All right. I kind of agree with Eric where I thought it was going to be unanimous because I think I already made that distinction, even though, I mean, the data doesn't lie for Matt. I mean, they are very, very evenly matched up so far this season.
But every week it feels like Briscoe has had a shot to win.
He's
more
like
than
up
Harvick
in the top
had a
5.
shot
He's
to
in the
win.
top 10,
Right. Just running order. Like you could finish a race like shit. And like you said, Whitey, the points, all that, average finish, that might not dictate how you ran during the race. To me, it just feels like the races that happened so far, he had the better shot to win than Harvick did.
Like, look at this weekend. He was in second going into turn 4, and he finished 22nd. That's 20 points right there.
Exactly.
So
is that where he finished? I didn't even look to see where he finished.
Yeah,
Briscoe.
He finished 22nd.
Okay.
I think he might have finished a lap down because of it.
He couldn't get going, I guess. I just never even
thought
to look at that after but okay.
Yeah, no, I did while I was looking at my my show notes and of course because of fantasy. Big disappointment in fantasy.
All of us.
Yeah. Let's see. The choose cones back out. Let's go to the next topic. Return to Bristol dirt, or do you think we should go to a purpose-built dirt track for Cup? Obviously, I think the Cup cars looked great on dirt this year compared to last year. Bristol or do we go, to Eldora or one of those places?
I don't think we'll get to Eldora. Tony kind of, they have to, get their stuff straightened out before that happens again. But I have the opinion after what I've witnessed that, Bristol dirt in the spring is now a thing.
Yeah.
And you still have Bristol, in the fall playoff race that's on the asphalt concrete. So I think you have the best of both worlds. You still have the old Bristol, original Bristol there, and now you have dirt Bristol.
Yeah.
Just like Matt, or I don't know if we were talking on the show or prior or before. I mean, you have the Roval, and then you have, the regular Charlotte race. They're adding multiple road courses to the schedule these past few years. So I don't think if you have the race we had at Bristol and you add another dirt track and you have 2 dirt tracks, I don't think it's going to take away from the thrill of the Bristol dirt at all. As long as it produces good racing, which it was absolutely amazing racing. And as long as, we have the viewership on the TV side that we saw from this race, it was absolutely amazing. 4 million viewers on Easter Sunday was the best, TV that they've had since 2016 at any event at Bristol, whether it be on dirt, spring, fall, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was the best TV viewership for it since 2016. We were at that race. So I was at the last 2 great races at Bristol there, which I'm, happy to say. But yeah, I wouldn't be against it. Add another dirt track. It's as long as it's, the short track. We want all short tracks. Hey, it doesn't have to come back on asphalt. We could add short tracks to this schedule that are dirt. So I'm for it.
You brought up the ratings, and something that was interesting, because you said it. You said it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of people in the grandstands. Something I discovered, though, for the previous spring races, they didn't sell tickets to the turns. They had them blocked off and everything, just to pack people in more towards the center.
I got into an argument with some freaking Twitter egg about this. During the week.
And this weekend, it was the first spring race in years that they sold tickets to the turns. So that just goes to show you how more spread out people were compared to previous spring races. I know you sent us that tweet. I didn't actually read it. I
think I went back and even deleted it just because I didn't want to I was done with the troll. I put them in a box and I was done with them. So just kind of answer. I'm gonna choose my lane. Am I going high lane? Am I going low lane? Which lane am I gonna go here? I'm gonna run right over the choose cone because
that's a penalty.
I don't know because I loved what I saw this weekend.
Yeah,
I loved it. I just and then from hearing Eric's side of it, who was actually there, how positive it was, how the vibes were, how much fun it was, how cool of an event it was. It's Bristol, it's the banking, it's all of it, it's the Coliseum around it, it's the whole atmosphere. But I also love Bristol concrete. It's my favorite track. I want both of those races back. I want to see that twice a year. I would love to see them go to a purpose-built dirt track. I've said it in the past. Hell, we mentioned at the top of the show, they're bringing North Wilkesboro back. They're going to run some dirt. They're going to run some dirt races, and then they're going to repave it. Or they're going to run some late models, and they're going to run some dirt races, and they're going to repave it. Just leave it a dirt track. Make it a dirt track. Make that the all-purpose dirt track. It's a throwback.
And make it the throwback race, Yeah, I think that would be the coolest. Do a throwback race on dirt at North Wilkesboro. Repaint things red and white, those old Winston Cup colors. You don't have to put Winston on it, but just the feel. That's something. I was watching some old races. I think it was at Richmond, and you obviously can't do it these days, but I just thought it was so interesting that half these places didn't even have real walls. They just had guardrails, and they were painted red. And there was just something about that where it really, like, I understand why people have nostalgia for it, where it looked cool. The grandstands were packed. It just looked bad. It looked like it made me want to smoke cigarettes again. If that makes any sense. Like, I just let me light up a lung dart and just fucking, it
was more dangerous back then. It was more sketchy. You knew if you were going to go watch a NASCAR race and you saw an accident, you were seeing an accident.
Yeah.
It was going to be mayhem. That was the draw a lot of times. Like, people say, NASCAR, it's all about the wrecks and people love to watch people wreck. Well, Yeah, because back then, like you said, Whitey, when you got into a wreck, there was a chance someone wasn't crawling out of that car.
No.
And, I think safety in some of these new things, it does take away from the overall look and I don't know how you want to say it, the tough, rugged, scary, this is a dangerous thing that these guys are doing.
Yeah,
and you
like
felt
lives
that
are on the
danger
line.
just being a fan. You felt that danger being there in the grandstands.
I mean, it was dangerous to be in the grandstands. You could have a hood fly off. How many hoods did you see fly off in Talladega and go flying over the fence? Like, yeah, someone got hit with that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different time back then. Like you said, obviously for safety reasons, we all understand why we can't be running guardrails anymore. But yeah, you would go to those tracks and the chances that someone weren't walking out of there was unfortunately the draw for some people. And sometimes that is what happened. Some people just didn't walk out of there. And that was our sport back then. R.I.P. Neil.
Yeah.
So do you guys agree though? Like, do you think they keep Bristol dirt, they add another dirt? Like, are you against like 2 dirt races? Like, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, do you think that would take away from the nostalgia? I don't think it would. I'm
against the 2 dirt races. Just one. Make it its thing. Now,
yeah, I just want to see one.
Whitey said something interesting as well about like going to North Wilkesboro. It's Wilkesboro. We live right down the road from a town called Wilkes-Barre. And so whenever we talk about North Wilkesboro, if I pronounce it wrong, it's because we live
near a town called Wilkes-Barre. It really throws me off.
I apologize if I've caught myself in the past doing it too.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, North Wilkesboro, running on dirt, that's our throwback race. I love the idea. Everyone probably loves the idea. Do you know who doesn't love the idea? TV, because that's 2 gimmicks. I'm sorry, quote unquote gimmicks.
Yeah.
Thrown into one race. They'll never have it. They can split them up and have the viewership.
Darlington and then the dirt.
Multiple races, so we will never see it.
No, that's true. I'm kind of in the middle, like you, Matt. A caller on the morning drive today on Sirius XM made a good point. The SMI guys aren't dumb. And they kind of had their own tinfoil hat. So I'm going to steal their tinfoil hat here. What if they set up Bristol dirt and then they take away that spring date, but they're using the dirt to bring other series to Bristol, like the dirt modifieds and all that stuff, because they want to bring back, North Wilkesboro. They want to bring back the Nashville Fairgrounds. Those dates have to come from somewhere, What if this whole thing is like, yeah, maybe this is the last Bristol one, and then we have to go to a purpose-built dirt track because now they're taking the spring Bristol date and they're moving it to the fairgrounds in Nashville. I'm just wondering if that's a possibility down the line. Would I want to see Bristol lose a date? Absolutely not. I would rather see a dirt race on Bristol than just one night race. But I would like to see the Cup cars at a purpose-built dirt track like Eldora. I just want to see one a season, though. Too much of a good thing is it waters things down.
Too much. It's still too much, yeah.
All right, speaking of dirt, one last one. I feel like this is super quick and easy. Restarts were a bit chaotic. I heard on the radio some of the dirt guys who are used to it were complaining that they should do single file restarts like they do in the dirt world. What do you guys think about that? Do you think we should do single file restarts on a dirt track?
My answer is quick. Yeah, same. No. I thought the double file was, first of all, double file restart is NASCAR's thing. I didn't think we had any problems. Last year, I know there were some problems, but that was more or less because of the reflection and the dirt and the dust and all that.
How about
we didn't have that this year, so no, keep it as is.
How about a choose cone?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that part of the question. Yes.
Oh, yeah. How about choose cone?
Have the choose cone back, specifically because we but we borrowed that idea from the dirt track world. So why not pay homage to them and run the choose? That actually, Bob, it confuses me every time I hear it.
Yeah,
they run a choose cone.
They can't put a cone out there with a string on it. You just pull it. That's what they do at Bowman Gray. Come on.
Right. Or just do something. I don't know. Like, you could figure it out. NASCAR, Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Hang
Come on.
something over the fence or something, you know?
Something. How about you, Eric? Choose cone?
Yeah, I thought that would have helped Eric a lot to gain position where he couldn't on the racetrack. That's a way to gain position. And his car wasn't really good on the bottom. And when he restarted on that inside, he struggled. So it might have helped him to gain some spots and to put himself in position where his car was better. And if they could hang Colossus in the middle of that arena, I'm sure you could figure out something for a choose cone.
1,000%, Eric.
All right. That's all I have for the pick of lanes. We are moving on. We're going to Daytona, baby. We're hunting for the front in Daytona. This Saturday, Xfinity is on track 4 p.m. on Fox for the Ag Pro 300. And Saturday morning Cup, no practice, just qualifying at 11 a.m. And then Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. on Fox, it's the Geico 500. Matt's got all the stats we need to make our educated picks. To recap the Bristol dirt race, Eric picked Eric Jones. He got you 13 points, so you are going to pick first today. Matt, you picked Alex Bowman. He got you 36 points, so you get to go second. And I picked Tyler Reddick. He got me 39 points, so I get to go last in picking for Talladega. And the points are heating up. I'm making a bit of a comeback. You guys in a tight points battle. We haven't gone over the points in a while. Eric has 279 points for the season. He is leading. Matt has 276. So you are only 3 points behind. And I had 2 races where my picks to win got me 1 and 2 points. So I'm very far behind. But I've fingered and clawed my way back to 259 points. So I'm only about 17 points behind you guys. So I'm getting there. Maybe I could take the lead in Talladega if you guys have a bad day. We will give our picks, but first, Matt, what are the odds today going into Daytona on Sunday?
Yep. So we're using DraftKings. I know I've mentioned in some of my gambling videos that I've switched over to FanDuel. I have, but FanDuel doesn't release the racing lines this early in the week, so I have to go with DraftKings. So the lines are provided by DraftKings.
Yep.
One thing you're going to notice with these odds are they pretty much everyone has really good odds. You have a chance to win some good money this week because it's Talladega, the randomness of it. There are favorites here, but there's not really favorites. So we'll just go over it real quick. William Byron will round out the top 10 as a plus 1,800. That is very fair odds. I love all these guys' odds, but William Byron specifically, I really like that. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson all tied at plus 1,600. Then you move down into it with Austin Cindric and Chase Briscoe and Brad Keselowski and Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin. All are plus 1,400. Again, these lines are as of 9:15 on Tuesday night, April 19th. So this is going to change after practice and qualifying and as we get deeper into it. But and then your second place favorite right now is someone who just dominates a lot of the time at Talladega. It's Joey Logano at plus 1,200, and then his teammate at plus 1,000, Ryan Blaney.
All right. Since Eric got last place, you get to pick first. Who are you picking to win in Talladega?
Talladega. I didn't know he was going to be the top dog, but he ended up being the top dog anyway. I already wrote him down even before this started, knowing I was first with Eric Jones in the 13. I already had Ryan Blaney chalked up in my notebook.
Yeah, I figured he was going to be the first pick. I was hoping that I lost this weekend so I could pick him.
He's due. He's just due.
He absolutely is.
Yep. Yeah, I had him and then the guy that I'm going to pick written down, and that's the only two that I had written down knowing I was going for second.
I hope it's not who I'm going to pick. I got a long shot that that I don't know who I'm going to pick.
This guy here behind me, the 88 of Dale Jr., used to be the Pied Piper of super speedways.
Okay.
He retired. Got a new Pied Piper. Somebody who has 3 Daytona 500 victories.
Oh, shit.
Somebody who needs to win.
Yeah.
Somebody who we talked about earlier. Somebody who has to win. I'm sorry, he's won, but he's got to win again. He's hungry. He's trying to get back
He's
up.
23rd in
standing.
points.
I am going with another double-digit number, not the 88, but the 1-1, the 11. Dennis Hamlin is going to win in Talladega.
Normally, I would say, man, that's a great pick, but the way he's been running lately, I just don't know.
He's turning it around. The last time I picked Denny, this is now another thing. It's also the first time this year that I've doubled up on a guy. The first time I picked Denny, he won. So let's do it again. Let's double down Denny.
All right. I am going with a long shot according to the odds. He wasn't even on your sheet. He is sitting at plus 2,000. The Fords were fast in Daytona. This guy is usually in the mix in the top 10 and top 5 at Talladega. I am saying that Eric Almirola gets his last career win this weekend in Dega on a super speedway. He'll definitely.
I like it, Whitey. I like it.
I like that pick.
I think the odds makers are sleeping on him a little bit, being at plus 2,000. So I'm gonna throw
jump on it now, man.
I'm gonna throw up a couple dollars on before it changes after qualifying this Saturday. If you want to get any of these picks in, get them in as soon as possible before the odds change after qualifying, because we know qualifying, it matters, but at a super speedway it matters a little less.
I jumped on, just for an example, I jumped on Reddick to get a top 3 finish at Bristol Dirt early in the week before his odds plummeted.
Yeah.
And I won $4, won me $27, where if I threw $4 down on Saturday or Sunday, if I waited, it probably would have netted me like 11 or $12. So
no, not even
on it early, well, before practicing qualifying, if you have a good feeling on someone, and it might pay off for you.
Yeah, not even he was like minus 110 for a top 3.
Anything.
Yeah, you would have had to bet more than you would have won at that point. So yeah, get these bets in early if you have a hunch, and then of course we always tell you watch practice and qualifying and our betting gambling videos on YouTube in the morning before race day too, because usually we have some extra insight after that. Of course, this is all off of feeling, but I think we have 3 great picks. Denny makes me nervous, but let's go on to the head-to-head battles before we wrap the show up in just a little bit.
I had to make a dig at my pick.
Toyotas, man, I don't trust them.
I know we're tight on time here, so we'll rip through these. The first head-to-head matchup, very, very interesting. 2 guys who used to be teammates. Do they hate each other? Do they not?
Absolutely.
I don't think they like each other. It's Joey Logano versus Brad Keselowski. Joey Logano, the slight favorite at minus 120 to Brad Keselowski's minus 110. Joey Logano's really good at Talladega. There's no way I'm betting against him.
Yeah, give me Logano all day long.
Going with the 6.
Wow.
I was heavy on him in the beginning of the season. Yeah. I need him to come back here.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, how about the next one?
All right. Denny Hamlin versus his driver, Bubba Wallace. Denny Hamlin, the favorite at minus 125 to Bubba Wallace at minus 105. Bubba Wallace has been so good on restricted play, or I call him restricted play, on super speedway races. But not so fast, my friend. I already gave my reasons why I think Denny's going to win this race.
I'm going with Denny as well. I think Bubba's luck's going to run out. He's been doing really well at these super speedway races. Couple second place finishes, but I think that ends. He gets caught up, and he ends that streak of almost getting there at super speedway.
I'm opposite you guys. I think Bubba's beating the boss once again in position. He might not win, but I think he's going to do better than Denny.
Buddies are facing each other in this next one. Dovin, you said they were beating and banging. Blaney was beating up on him a little bit. It's Blaney versus Chase Elliott. Blaney's the slight favorite in this matchup. Minus 120 to Chase Elliott, minus 110. Eric, you picked Blaney to win the race. I agreed with the reasons behind that. I think Blaney is so good at Talladega. I'm taking Blaney with this matchup.
Yeah, obviously, I'm going to take Blaney here as well.
Yeah, give me Ryan Blaney and those fast Fords.
Yeah. And then obviously you've got the two guys that set off fireworks in the last corner of Bristol, Tyler Reddick versus Chase Briscoe, a deadlock, even odds, both of them minus 115 in this heads-up battle. The odds makers are saying it could go either way. I don't think it can go either way. I think Chase Briscoe is a sneaky underdog to win this race and to definitely beat Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, I'm going with Chase Briscoe as well. I just think he has a little edge at a super speedway race.
I'm going with Reddick. I have to. I bet with my heart when it comes to Reddick, not with my mind. He runs really well at super speedways. He just has some bad luck sometimes, like a lot of people do. So yeah, give me Tyler Reddick. Yeah, that's all the picks for it. I forgot. I was looking at my phone. I forgot that I have to move the show along. That's our picks for the week. Again, our playoff picture, we're 9 races in. We have 8 different winners: Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, William Byron with 2 wins, Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch just locked himself in this past weekend into the playoffs. Who can do it again? Will it be my pick, Eric Almirola, for his final season? Will it be Ryan Blaney with win number 1 of the season? Or will it be, Matt, I'm sorry, I forget who you picked.
Dennis Hamlin.
Dennis Hamlin with the 2nd win of the season. He's been struggling. We will see this Sunday, 3 p.m. on Fox for the Geico 500. Something tells me, with it being sponsored by Geico and not Toyota, that old Denny's going to have a rough one. But we will find out on Sunday. And of course, we'll break it on down for you next Monday night right here on the Bumper Run podcast. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
The Bump and Run.
There it is.